You thought it was over.
Hello guys, Wavy Ocean here, back with another video. Today we are going to be talking about part 2 of what if Deku had Asta's powers. And we are going to be getting into the USJ attack. But with that, let's get into the video. Everything goes relatively the same until Madara, Deku, and Tsuyu are all in the same area, and Deku uses his sword to make a big shockwave in the water. But his arms are both at their limits after using too much force, and Tsuyu saves him. We then go over to Eraserhead fighting the Nomus and the villains. Eraserhead looks like he's losing. When the Nomu breaks his arm, it suddenly gets knocked back and everybody looks in that direction. Looks like I was late for the party! In this scenario, Mirio gets one for all, and he is still with Night Eye, and he chooses to send him to the USJ to learn more about his new power. And when he heard about the villains, he rushed to help Mr. Aizawa. Mr. Aizawa, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Together, Aizawa and Mirio both fight the villains and the Nomu. Aizawa fights the villains while Mirio handles the Nomu, which he's more than capable of doing. And Aizawa is struggling because his arm was still broken. And Deku sees this and goes into a fit of rage and rushes to Aizawa's side and starts fighting against the villains. Aizawa notices him, and when Deku hits them with his swords, their quirks stop for a short time. So that's what it is. Aizawa makes a mental note to teach Deku later, and possibly give him a binding cloth. All three of them start fighting back to back and actually start fending off some of the villains. This catches the attention of Shigaraki, and he calls the Nomu over to them. The Nomu punches Deku in the gut and leaves him lying on the floor in pain. Aizawa isn't able to fight the Nomu due to his injuries, and it's all up to Mirio. He's doing the best he can, but he can't fight it forever, due to him not knowing how to handle the Nomu or his new power. The Nomu is fast enough to land a single hit on Mirio and pins him down, until the Nomu is pushed back and All Might is here. The rest of the arc goes pretty much the same for the most part. It's been a while since I've said that. In the aftermath, Deku is asked about the sword he used, but he doesn't really know because this is the first real time he's used it in battle. They stop asking, and later Deku goes to visit All Might in the hospital with Mirio. And All Might tells Deku that the UA Sports Festival is coming up, and that he may be disqualified for the use of his sword, so he might have to find another way to use his powers without manifesting into a weapon. When it is officially announced, Yorikara is pumped for the festival, which leads to Deku asking why she wants to be a hero, and Yorikara says it's for the financial gain that comes with being a hero. Deku confronts her and says it's okay because she wants to do it for other people and herself. So, why do you want to be a hero? Why do I want to be a hero? To grow strong, and to crush everybody who doubted. Deku stops himself short. What was he saying? That's not why he wanted to be a hero at all. He wanted to help those people who doubted him, and prove most of them wrong, but not crush them. Yorikara and Ida look at him in shock, not expecting to hear something that dark from the kind kid they knew. We then go over to the running part of the UA Sports Festival, and everybody starts running, and Deku instantly jumps into action with Todoroki. While Todoroki freezes the robot, Deku slices it in half, and they fall next to each other, and one glance at each other submits a rivalry between the two. They defeat most of the robots easily, and Deku decides he needs to find a way to go faster during the minefield part, and he thinks, when he needs a boost in power, he touches the book. So what if he tried circulating energy from his sword? He hadn't tried it before, and if he didn't try now, he would most likely lose. He puts his hand on his sword, and he focuses, and notices a lot of energy circulating, and he focuses, and feels a rush of power go through him. He, not knowing what to do with the power, he shoots forward past Bakugo and Todoroki, easily, and he crashes into the wall and injures his health, and he has to get hospitalized. This means for the whole cavalry event, Deku does not participate and automatically passes for that part. But let's just keep that whole event the same, just to keep the plot the same, and Deku's team somehow wins. Todoroki notices that Deku wasn't in the cavalry battle, and when Deku leaves the hospital, Todoroki talks to him. I saw that form you were using when you shot past us, but don't think just because you found a way to change your hair color doesn't mean you could beat me. and you're copying me with a half and half here. Half and half. What? Playing dumb, huh? Well, it doesn't matter. It'll be on display when I beat you. Too bad. That's not gonna happen. Because I'm going to beat you no matter what. In the first match, Deku still talks to Shinso, and he gets his mind controlled. But he finds himself floating in a void after.
Hello, Midoriya.
Who are you?
I'm the reason for all your power.
So, can you help me?
I already did help you once. Or more, you forced my hand. I didn't expect you to be so smart and call upon my power to the sword. But I'll help you. Just know that it comes with a price.
What's the Deku then wakes up with and sees a new sword come from his book, and he feels a rush in him again, and he appears next to Shinso before he can even think he's out of the mind control, and knocks him out of the ring. Deku thinks to himself, what was that power? Was that what Todoroki was talking about? And what was the consequence? Well, at least he didn't disqualify me for my sword, so I should be good now. The next match is Todoroki vs Zero, which goes the same, although Todoroki is a bit more aggressive due to Deku looking like a hard foe. For the next 3 matches after that, it pretty much goes the same. Yurikara vs Bakugo actually changes a little bit because Yurikara takes Deku's advice, due to them being closer, and Yurikara wanting to be closer to him. And in the first parts, Yurikara actually does pretty good and almost knocks Bakugo off, but Bakugo makes a strong enough explosion to knock him straight back into the room, into Yurikara, and take her down. The next fight is Deku vs Todoroki, which starts out with an ice wall that Deku slices in half. He keeps slashing at the ice and can easily keep Todoroki's attacks back. And he decides to use his other sword, and he slices some ice, and when he slices again, he sends back some ice. But Todoroki is surprised, and he doesn't know what to make of it. But he keeps on the attack, and he still punches Todoroki in the gut. Why don't you use that form for earlier? Not until you use your other side. What? That power is your own, not his. Todoroki then smiles. You must be wanting to lose then. Don't blame me if you get hurt. Deku smiles and starts to circulate energy and turns into his black form. They charge at one another with everything they have. And in this situation, Deku actually wins, because when he got through the ice and fire, he turned his sword sideways into a powerful push that knocked Todoroki off and won him the match. Kirishima vs Bakugo goes the same, and Deku faces off against Ida. And this is actually a pretty even match for the most part. Deku is able to fend him off and eventually knock him off. And Tokiyomi vs Bakugo still goes the same. And Ida then has to leave due to something happening with his brother. Before Deku vs Bakugo happens, Bakugo lets Deku know he's not winning. When Bakugo starts talking, it explodes his Deku's face, and Deku blocks it with his big sword. And Bakugo comes through the explosion to a point blanket, where Deku destroys it with his other sword, and it gains some distance and sends it back. This surprises Bakugo and knocks him off the stage. He's stunned at how he's knocked off so easily, and now the top 3 are Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki. Bakugo isn't even mad, he's more disappointed, conflicted, and confused. The next day, everybody who enlisted them for the agency is shown, and Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki all have a lot of enlistments this time. When they choose their names, Midoriya actually has a change in names in this scenario. What is your hero name, Midoriya? My hero name is Rojami Atsushi. I want to be a hero of love. But with that, I'm going to end the video off here. I actually do have a reason behind Deku's hero name, and if you want me to explain it in a video, I would be glad to do that. But with that, I am Brony, and